My upbringing was rough. I grew up on the west side of Detroit. We bounced around from house to house, and back then it was like growing up in a third world country almost. The rules of the regular world didn't really apply. You had to be there to know how to navigate, know how to be safe, and that's what I spend the majority of my time doing. If I didn't have both my parents to kind of guide me in the right direction, and so many people that I kind of looked towards and saw what they were doing, and could even see some of their mistakes and make sure I didn't make the same mistakes. A lot of people in my same positions, the guys that I grew up with on the streets, they didn't have the same opportunities. So it almost made it to where I had to take advantage of the opportunities that I did have. I'm Kevin Lee, AKA the Motown Phenom, 23-5 and a UFC Lightweight contender. I didn't play many sports growing up. I mean, I was always athletic. We always got into races. We always, would play ball. I gave up on my NBA dreams once I figured out my pops was only 5'9". That wasn't gonna happen. But I got introduced into MMA kind of just on a whim, flipping through the channels, and all of a sudden I saw George St. Pierre and BJ Penn was the first fight I ever saw. And it was something about it. I didn't know what they was doing. You know, they looked like they just was scrapping, rolling around, but something about it just drew me to it. And the rest is history from there. I wanted to go right to a gym and see if I can, if I could maybe get somebody to train me out the goodness of their heart. You know, we didn't have much money or anything. But one day after school, we walking around in the hallways with some of my boys, and the wrestling team used to have to remove the desk from the classroom so that they could wrestle. And we saw them doing that. And I had that same feeling, like I didn't know what they was doing. I thought they was in there WWE wrestling, like picking each other up, slamming through the desk or something. But something about it drew me to it. And it made sense for me to go off for the wrestling team. Didn't have to go to a separate gym and only had to stay after school a couple hours. Honestly, I thought I was ready for my first MMA fight. As soon as I saw him in the cage, like I was like, yeah, let's do it. You know, I tried to take a jiu-jitsu match because I spent some time wrestling, and after high school, I eventually wanted to transition. Tried to sign up for a jiu-jitsu tournament, and the guy tells me he was throwing a fight the night before, and one of his guys pulled out. So I was like, yeah, sure, sign me up for it. Let's do it. I took the fight on 2 days' notice. No ever training in MMA, not ever really throwing a punch, other than like at my brother's and some folks on the street. And I just did what I saw on TV. I won. You know, the guy was older. He was maybe in 30, 31, something like that. I threw a couple jabs, threw a leg kick, took him down, and just did what I saw on TV. Just heavy elbows, as many times as I could elbow him. That's it. I got the call for the UFC. I was a senior at the time in college, just getting ready for finals, and they called me for that, and I'm like, hell yeah, this is what I've been working for. This is what I've been doing. So I took that fight against Ally Quinta in February. Lost a close decision in that one, and I knew right after that, I was like, I got to make some changes and do the things that a professional does to get better. And that's being around the right teams and being around the right people that can accelerate me. So I just got in my car and I had one or two options. I was in school in Grand Rapids. I could either go back to Detroit or I could just drive out west and see what's out there for me. I packed up a bag of clothes. You know, I bought the car with the money that I won from the fight. I made 8 G's in the fight, spent 3 on the car right out the gate, and drove it out west and ended up in Vegas. You know, they say a man touches his prime between 28 and 32. So all of this time has just been me just building up my experience and learning, which I think a lot of people overlook, and me included. You know, I kind of sometimes take a fast route and just want to already be there and done it. But you need that experience. And in a lot of those fights, I had to learn just the hard way and in front of the world. Not just, you know, some fighters get to do that on other smaller promotions where not many people see them do it. But I honestly wouldn't change it for nothing. You talk about that fight with Leonardo Santos, who is a heavy hitter. At the time, I didn't know that. At the time, I was coming off three straight wins, really feeling like, okay, I'm here now. I'm in the UFC. And I was such a massive favorite in that fight. I maybe was 5 or 6 to 1 to win. And he was one of the best in the world on the ground. And in that fight, the worst thing that happened to me, really two things, worst thing. One, I thought that I didn't need Robert Fawless in my corner. I thought this fight was a done deal. I'll save on my little percentage, not have him in the corner. I had Robert Drysdale instead. It was great coach in his own right, great jiu-jitsu coach, but I didn't have my real MMA coach with me. And Leonardo Santos is one of the best on the ground, and especially at the lightweights. He's a legend as far as jiu-jitsu is concerned. And he got me down, and I got right back up. And after that, I was like, oh, there's 15,000 people in this building. We just all waiting on him to fall. Me too. The only one who didn't know it was Leo. I put my hands down to go ahead and throw the final blow, and he ended up catching me. And that one taught me a real valuable lesson.
The Ferguson fight, I mean, you were doing really good. I mean, you were doing well. Yeah. I mean, did you kind of, at some point, did you get a little too comfortable, you think?
You know what? Honestly, I think in that moment, the fight was a little too big for where I was at. I wasn't matured enough to be there, and I hyped myself up for it. I pumped myself up for it to get ready, but I just wasn't ready for it. Those lights were really bright that night, and that one taught me a big lesson too, one that I'm still learning from, to be honest. So that one was tough to kind of mentally get over. You know, I think with any fight, when you lose, you just want to get right back in there right away and just prove to yourself again that I can do better. And in any fight that I've lost, and I think anybody who's watching them will say, I ain't met the man yet that's beaten me. It's just, I beat myself 1 or 2 times in there. So, you know, it's like a lot of self-reflection that goes in after a loss. Even for me, I mean, I know it shut off his lights, but even for me, it's just white, just a flash, just a bang, and yeah, just bang.
Last question. Let's say you and I sit down 15 years from now.
Yeah.
We're doing this again. Tell me what Kevin Lee accomplished in this career. What will you have done?
Everything. You know, I wanted to be one of these people. Yes, I want to be a great champion, but I want to be worth a lot more than that. Or I want to be shown a lot more than just being a fighter. People will know me as a UFC champion to start with, but that's just gonna be the start. Like, I'm 28 now, a month from my 28th birthday, and I'm just getting started. I ain't even started yet. Like, this is when I hit my prime, and I'm way ahead of any other guys that's in my same position. All these guys in their 30s. So, we're talking 15 years. We'll see.